And I don't always do this, honestly. I am kind of hit and miss with exactly when I do meal prep, but I just wanted to walk you guys through a little bit of the things that I do and kind of my thinking process so that you can see kind of like how do I manage like doing this. I promise it's not as complicated, and if you have never tried doing meal prep, it's probably because you were a little bit nervous about like, oh my gosh, it's going to take all my time out of my life. I don't have time to do meal prep. I don't have time to plan. Okay, let me like teach you something here. You don't have time not to plan. If you have a busy schedule, then you have to plan ahead or you're not going to be successful in maintaining healthy habits. Okay, and this is the same for anything. If you're planning ahead for, you know, a picnic, or you're going to the zoo this week, or you have a big play date planned, or you have a family reunion, like if you're planning ahead and thinking about those things, then having things prepared for food and not having to resort to pizza and going out to fast food places or, you know, whatever it is, you don't have to have that happen if you're planning ahead. So you can't see him at the moment. Guess I can turn it. Joshua is my little helper this morning. That's another thing that I hear a lot is that I'm a mom. I can't do meal prep because my kids are crazy. I can't do meal prep because I don't want them to screw everything up and make the whole house a mess. And you know what? Like, I have toddlers. They're the biggest mess makers ever. And I don't have him help all the time, but when I want to do meal prep and he's awake, then I have him help with things like picking the grapes off of the stems and putting them in a container because he likes grapes. At the moment, he's helping me tear and shred kale to put the kale in a container because this is how I store my kale. And honestly, I have a love for kale way beyond my love for salad. I don't know, maybe I'm weird. But all I'm doing is taking the kale and I'm ripping the leaves off of the stem. And I put it in my container and then I go through and I use it. And the kale kind of cooks down when you roast it in the oven for like 5 to 8 minutes. And so it's gonna like diminish in how big of a quantity is. You can see this is a pretty big container. So the kale is done, but I just wanted to walk you through my process. So first thing I do, I go grocery shopping. First thing I do is I plan, and I've talked about my meal planning system before. I have this file if anyone would like it. It's just a grocery list on the back. Whew. And then it got crumpled by Tatum. She took control of it. But anyway, it has, you know, my breakfast options, lunch, snacks, and then dinner's out for 2 weeks. So I'm actually on this week right here, and I already planned this week. And the next thing that I use is a little list at this, like the top and the side of my meal plan, and it says meal prep to-dos. So I make a list of the things that I need to do to prep for the food that I have planned. Just to give you an example, tonight I'm making cauliflower fried rice.
We just shred the carrot.
We will do the carrots in a minute. Some of the things for cauliflower fried rice are carrots, which we need to shred. Do not shred it yet, Josh. It's not time yet. So I'm shredding the carrots. We've got the cauliflower already in the fridge. I'm just prepping the veggies and washing them and making it simpler to throw it all together in the wok and cook it tonight. Other things that I have planned involve, you know, some like thawing of beef and thawing some chicken and things like that. The kale is part of my lunch and one of my dinner options. I've got things planned that I need to have vegetables chopped. So I focus on like the fresh stuff that I get. I try and wash it and prep it, like chop it up, because that's the most time-consuming part of, you know, using fresh ingredients, is getting it ready ahead of time or getting it ready on the spot. Like that's gonna take the most time. And when you take the time to do it, say for 3 or 4 different meals at a time, then you completely change how much time it takes for the cooking because you're changing the prep process. So that means that, you know, in the evening when kids are crazy and like, oh my gosh, life goes to bits, like you have the time to manage the chaos and also have dinner cooking instead of, you know, like, crap, I can't cook dinner, like life is too crazy right now. So we've got like the fresh veggies are going to get chopped and, you know, however I need to prep them. Some of those things are like bell peppers. I've got some butternut squash that I need to chop up.
And
we have watermelon. Yes, Joshua was excited about watermelon. Uh-oh, did you squish your finger? Oh, it's okay. And sometimes life happens and babies squish their fingers and it's sad. But let me just kind of show you my fridge to talk about like some of the things that I've... So, in my fridge, I have right here is part of dinner is those chicken sausages. They're from Sam's Club. They're awesome. Those are going to go with the cauliflower fried rice, which some of the ingredients for that are right here. My breakfast, these are 3 days of breakfast. Today I had like a half a cup of strawberries that have been chopped up already. And I had like 2 scrambled eggs with a little bit of cheese and coconut oil. Here's my lovely strawberries. I store them in a container and I put a paper towel at the bottom. They'll pretty much last me this week, if not less time than that, because my kids eat strawberries like candy. So those are just a couple of things that I do. Josh, I said do not do that by yourself. That's not safe. Put it down.
Do I do it with Mom?
You do it with Mommy, yes. Okay, so some of the things that I do is on my list. I'm going to go through and I'm going to break it down because I'm not going to do everything today. So like today I needed to get ready for the cauliflower fried rice. So the last thing that we're going to do today pretty much is shred those carrots. Everything else can wait because it's not immediate to me. So today I've, gotten the kale ready. I've made some breakfasts. I'm going to chop these carrots with Joshua in just a couple minutes. And then tomorrow is when I'll do a couple other things. So tomorrow I'm going to make a salad dressing that's going to go with the kale and chicken salad that I have planned. Stop, please. You cannot do it by yourself. I'm going to thaw meat the night before the meal so that I, have that ready for the morning to marinate it or to just plop it in the crock pot if I'm going to do a crock pot meal. I have things written out and I have little reminders written next to it like, hey, FYI, it's Tuesday, you need to, cook your rice this morning. Just little things like that. So I guess my point of this is it doesn't have to be an all day thing. If you have things coming on and you're not going to be able to prep ahead of, one day, then that's okay. Like you can do all your meal prep in one day. It's just going to take you more time. On average, I would say, hey, you're okay. On average, I would say I probably spend about 30 to 40 minutes at a time doing meal prep. And total time would be maybe 2 to 3 hours at the most throughout the week. I'll just do something quick after breakfast for 30 minutes and just knock out a few things so that I know that they're ready for dinner that night and maybe for some future meals like lunches or breakfast. So, I know I probably talked super fast, and I hope this has been kind of helpful, and that if you're watching this later, that you'll reach out with questions if you have them. I can't see any of the comments right now, I don't know why. But if you have questions or if you would like to try one of my groups, I actually have a free meal prep and planning group going on right now. It's 3 days long. It started today, and this is actually going to be one of the videos that I share later. But if you are not in that group and you would like to be in that group, then I hope that you'll give it a shot. My biggest thing is we all have the same amount of time in the day, and the things that you make the time for are going to be the things that work out for you. So if you make the time to do meal prep, then meal prep will happen. If you make it a priority and explain to your kids, because for the most part, mine is her, they're old enough. Do you want to hold a carrot, Josh? Here, you can hold that. For the most part, they're old enough to understand, my toddler is old enough to understand that he can help me make healthy dinner, because how else is he going to learn how to make a healthy dinner if I'm not, or a healthy meal to begin with, if I'm not teaching him? And so that involves me letting go of some of my control issues and helping him to do things, safely, and helping him to be a part of this process. Because if I do that, then I know that he's going to want to be a part of it later when he's older, and he's going to learn a lot faster. It gives him some sensory stuff. He gets to touch things and play with things and make different shapes with them. There's so many benefits to involving your kids. So it might be crazy, and this video probably looks like I'm totally schizophrenic or something, but I hope it was helpful. And if you'd like to join in on my meal prep masterclass, then I hope that you'll give it a shot. We will be starting, we started today, but we'll be ending on Wednesday, and you don't have to do anything crazy, just come and learn. Okay? Okay, we're gonna turn off now. Thanks for watching.